Second again. Second again. Second again. Ole, ole. Hey, you know what's not second? This podcast. Because every time they lose, we step up to the plate. They don't. It's great. It's we're back from London and Amsterdam and doing our whole trip, and it couldn't have gone any better for us, really. I mean, not for Grant, but 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 the overall atmosphere of like our all collective hate watch, it came together really nicely. You guys, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit, both got predickies on the trip. It was productive, to say the least, barring one club. But we'll get to that later. This is Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan. That's Mila, and that's Grant. I pointed in the wrong directions. I know. I don't care. I'm too happy for that. Episode 95, 5 away from 100 on this podcast, which is kind of crazy to think about. What are we going to talk about? We'll talk about City first because they became the league leaders once again. We'll talk about second again, ole ole, which is so great. And then we'll talk about Chelsea as they just had a shitstorm of a 2-week period when we were gone, leading to Rosenior being sacked. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Spurs since we got to go to a game, and I think we all are in agreement on where they're heading, which is the title of that video. So if you haven't checked it out, you should. And then we'll wrap up the episode talking about Manchester United, because it's very difficult to talk about United when they play every other week, pretty much is what it feels like. But I need to talk about them at some point so I can get clips off. It's a tough spot we're in, but it's okay. It's okay. Without further ado, let's kick on into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan. They just got punched in the mouth. They didn't even know how to react.
That is one Derby Diamond.
I'm Mila. Do we want to do a little prediction? That was the last time they showed an initiative to go get a fucking player.
City are still alive here. Balotelli. Aguero.
I'm Grant. They're talking a lot about you 15. How will you respond 15?
We downgraded from Peppa. Do you know how absurd that is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
And it is indeed match day. Plug to the 459 of you guys currently subscribed. Thank you very, very much. It's been really cool. I have adjusted our road to 500 from the World Cup to the end of next month. We are getting to 500 by then. Maybe we'll do something special for it once we get a little bit closer. To anybody new that came from the Tottenham video, thanks. We enjoy our UK viewership, and we're happy you're here. And if you're a Galaxy fan and you're trying to avoid the shitstorm that is that team, welcome. We'll talk about other shitstorms. I am a bad host and forgot to put a predicky counter slide. So I'm going to do it here while we're plugging, and I'm going to jump our Linktree logo at the same time. So if you aren't following us on social medias, go there. It's way easier than searching us up. All of our social medias are linked. Here's the predicky counter. Grant and Mila, like I said, got predickies. Grant got it on the Leeds United game, and Mila got it on the Chelsea City match. Both very difficult games to predict, I think, just because Big Six matchup. I don't think anyone's expecting a 3-0 maybe. Maybe if we were hindsight 2020, we should have. And then obviously Leeds going into Old Trafford and beating United 2-1 in just what was a very frustrating night for me in Amsterdam.
No. Was it not?
Well, you know what I'll say is it was fitting, like, for us all to be together and you to get your predicky on a Leeds versus United match. Like, historically, it fitting, very fitting. But we're here, and like I said, Linktree, it's not gone. All right, Mila, it happened. You've been saying it was gonna happen for weeks, and I honestly sat here and I will say wholeheartedly with my chest, I got it wrong. I thought Arsenal had their moment. I've never been happier.
Fake ass moment. If there was ever, it was one of the moments of all time. That fucking moment that you thought they had. And I tried to tell you. Yeah, inevitable.
Yeah,
a lot of inevitable going on right now in the league. I think us chasing down a team that we've been trailing most of the season is inevitable. I think Arsenal making a show of it, even though they could have wrapped it up a month, 2 months ago, is inevitable. Some of the other things that we're going to talk about in this video are inevitable, but I feel like that's the theme right now. Yeah, a lot of it was mentality, and we've been talking about this since day one. And I was looking through old videos trying to put something together, and I saw me yelling at this Man City team for a lack of mentality 2 months ago. We haven't lost a Premier League game since the Manchester derby. So I don't know. The standards have definitely been raised throughout the season, and that question of whether the young guys can match that level of intensity and that thirst for glory, like it's definitely here. You see the way that they go after every competition that we're still in, and we hawked them down, and we're here. It's in our hands again. I think that's where a lot of the negativity came from me and from any other City fan, is that we let it go out of our hands. But in my head, we would always get another chance, and this is that chance, so we can't let it slip now. Yeah.
Would it be the biggest bottle job of all time if you guys don't go on to win the league?
No, I think the bottle drop has already occurred to me. Like, it doesn't
crazy.
matter to even make a show out of it. It's just so Arsenal. Either they do walk away with it or not.
Impressive.
I don't think they will. I think the players that need to be locked in are very locked in. And so long as everyone stays fit, I think we're good to go. But yeah.
It's crazy because the sentiment that I'm going to say here is going to be applicable to both segments that we have on both teams. But 4 weeks ago, 1 month ago, Arsenal were leading the league. They still haven't lost in Champions League, but they hadn't lost in Champions League. They were in the final of a cup, and they were playing Southampton in the FA Cup. Within 4 weeks, they're out of 2 of the competitions. They lost the league, and now they play Atletico Madrid in a UCL game, which when we were in Amsterdam, we were talking about the implications of them having to play that when City's on this run. Because they almost have to prioritize Champions League. And to say that 2 weeks ago, where City was at, comparatively, it was a really tough stretch of games, and you guys had faltered, and that's where I thought the moment was coming. I was like, well, I think City are probably going to drop another game. And then to go through the gauntlet that you've gone through, which was it was Arsenal and Liverpool, and then a bunch of difficult games, and to be back at the pinnacle, like it's really Thanos. It's the dread it, run from it, but destiny arrives all the same. And that's every single time you get to this point of the year. I think there was some stat about it being like over the last 4 seasons with Arsenal, they've led for like 1,000 days, something silly, and City's led for like 40.
It's like one of the favorite Arsenal statistics that I see from their fans is that, Arteta's led a long time in this, but again, he's walked away with 0 Premier League titles.
Yeah, man, that's like
keep that seat warm for me.
I was gonna say
that's a crazy stat.
It's the long-term relationship guy, and then he's about to propose, and then some dude just comes in and shags his girl like every single time, man. Like
we'll talk about guys in the chair.
Oh man,
that will be another theme.
It is comical, and I'll wait to rag on them a little bit later. But the one player that I do want to highlight, and I think he is getting proper praise right now, and we've been both on and off for him when it's been due this season. But the guy that's leaving at the end of the season, we saw him in person, and that really made the stark difference in terms of what class he is, and that's Bernardo Silva. This turn in form came when he went back into the squad, had the armband, and just was like, I'm going to take over matches. And even in this last game against Burnley, which wasn't great, his heat map has to be the entire pitch. It is absurd what he's doing right now for City and Pep. Like the definition of a hero send-off, if I've ever seen one, like similar to the Gundogan thing, like David Silva in the past. Like it feels the same. Like every year
it is
one of these guys.
It definitely is the same to that extent, if not more. He's just became our most winningest player of all time.
That's the most, like, is it percentage wise or just he's won the most games in a City uniform?
That's a
It could
great
be
question.
both, to be
I
fair.
think it might be percentage-wise, it like depends what the threshold is. I think he's won the most games.
That's crazy.
He, yeah, he's been great. I look back at some of the stuff we were saying, and a lot of it was just the team had no heart.
Yeah.
And the second he turned that around, and he like just is this radiating piece of energy and passion right now. I think it's rubbing off on the rest of the team, and you can see it in the way that he leads in the team talks, and you can see it in his play where he's just taking control of every aspect of the game, and he's where we need him to be. He's running the most out of like any player on the pitch. And yeah, like everyone knows he's leaving, so like you were saying, hero send off. This is the way to go out if you're gonna have this record where you're just here for the great times. Like make one more as the captain. This is the one season that he gets as the captain. I wish we could get a couple more, but I think it's poetic. It feels almost scripted, and I love that because it just kind of is how the club is. It just they make these storylines, and we've been on the good end of those storylines for at least the last decade and a half. So I hope it continues again with the end of the season. I think it'd be a great send off for him, for John Stones, for Ake if he leaves, Pep if he leaves. It would be a nice way to end to end an era in that sense.
Yeah. Grant, we got to see it live in person, just what this city freight train is. From your perspective, what's the thing that's gotten them to this point? Is it more of just an Arsenal thing, or do you think they've just started to turn up the gear one level and now they're
It's
at here?
definitely Arsenal is definitely part of the equation, but I think from a city perspective, I mean, I was down and out in terms of having any belief for them turning it around probably in like January. Honestly, I thought it was over by then. I think City have definitely stepped it up a notch. For me, it's been Cherokee. It's just having something like that in your team. We saw it obviously in the Arsenal game, but having that sort of difference maker in your team really starting to get comfortable, which sounds crazy to say because he's been pretty effective throughout the course of the season, but I think it's up another level right now in the run in. And yeah, just zero fear in the team. And I think he's like a perfect representation of where they're at right now in the season. He'll have to continue on that way if they're to see it off. But yeah, I think Arsenal's capitulation is definitely part of it. Um, you see that we called it the shark team, right? But yeah, you smell blood in the water, and all of a sudden it turns up a notch, and whoever's bleeding wants to get the fuck out of there. So yeah, need two to tango, I guess.
Yeah. Mila, you want to have any closing remarks before we let it all work out?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. We just have to let it all work out. I guess we could just talk about that Burnley game a little bit.
Yep.
We should have scored way more.
Yeah.
But as Holland said, and as a lot of our other players said, like played a team that was fighting for their life to stay in the Premier League, and they could have easily scored a couple. So the fact that we got out of there with the win and the 3 points is really all that freaking mattered. And that I think is the mentality amongst the team, the coach and the players going into the end of the season. And that should be like the mentality of all the fans also. As long as we win, we put pressure on Arsenal and it's in our hands. If anyone thinks that they're actually going to outscore us, then let them go and try to do that. Because I haven't seen anything that says they're going to. So we shouldn't even be worried about that. Just get the points and make sure we're there for the rest of it. I think the away fans, like I was a part of it. You guys saw it. They've been phenomenal for this stretch. Every freaking game, away from home, at home, the fans have been phenomenal, just pushing the team forward. And you can see that it makes an impact on the team. Whether it's them just going to take a corner and feeling a little bit of pressure lifted, or Holland running down the pitch with a fucking roar of City fans cheering him on, like it clearly boosts them. So I think that'll be a huge part to play going forward, and especially just demoralizing the Arsenal fans, just taking the piss out of them every chance we can get.
Yeah, I can't listen to that do 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 anymore. Like I can't listen to that song and enjoy it the same way just because I know it's got city ties now. It's the entire Burnley match. Like you could hear it the whole time. Like obviously the Burnley stadium was a little empty. Their team was getting
That was like
they all
apparent,
did.
like historically low.
Yeah, they knew they were going down, and that's tough.
Yeah.
You got to feel for them. Like
huge, yeah.
the inevitable was coming for them. They did put up a decent fight, and to your point, like City probably should have put the game away a couple times and just didn't. Dubravka was actually really, really good this season.
That was like that was inevitable again.
Yeah, it was inevitable. He always he does turn up. That's his thing. It's awesome. This is a good pod for me because it's just like it's one nice thing after another. I put Grant in the prime seat for this one because it's your biggest rival. We just sometimes, like Mila has been saying for months, you just got to let it all work out, and it has to a certain extent. I think for me, it's funny. So I'm ready to hear your thoughts, Grant. Your Arsenal hatred must be doing pretty good right now.
I mean, it's all I got left in the game right now, unfortunately. Tough state we're in, but you got to take what you're given. Life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. So who am I not to enjoy something? So yeah, I've been, like I said a little bit earlier, for months just thinking I'm going to have to figure out a way to deal with this, but might not have to. And it's been really impressive. Like I said, I mean, our first day overseas was the Bournemouth game. And I think we kept saying it. I don't know if we said it on the show or not, but the cup final was a big moment in the season for them. You either let it define your season or you use that as fuel to remind you of what can happen if you don't keep it tight. And yeah, they've absolutely let that define their season. Ever since that cup final result, obviously they got knocked out in the quarters in the FA Cup. Champions League, very uninspiring, but again, they are through. And then the Premier League, I feel like it's been that same sort of conversation regarding sustainability. And similar to last year, it dried out this time a little later. But it is the way people talked about it throughout the season. And then to have, Facundo in my ear constantly like, oh, you try beating a low block every game, all that stuff. I mean, it's playing out exactly as it's been told. And that's 2-3 years in a row now where, again, at a certain point, it does dry out. Credit where credit's due if it gets done. But yet again, we're starting to see at the worst possible time for them, it might not get done on any front. And that's why you can't pick and choose competitions. You're never in that sort of position to be able to minimize any sort of competition. You have to take them all seriously. And like Mila said, that all comes down more so to mentality than the tactics board or the ability on the team. Sometimes it really just is that desire, understanding all these intangibles. But, another thing that I've always said, right, the performative stuff, and then it just keeps happening. So it feels nice to an extent to be vindicated there. The whole, oh, it's not over. It's not over. It's like, all right, show me something then. Like, I'd much rather just see it shown. Like if I were a fan of that club, I would just be furious. It's like, stop telling me after the games are over that it's okay. Do something during the games to show me that it will be okay. And yeah, it has been bad. There's not much to take from a positive standpoint in these past performances. And like history has always told us, Mila, this is something I feel like that probably gave you your optimism at the darkest points this season. History tells us it'll snowball. It'll keep going. It'll get bigger and bigger as it goes down the mountain, and then it'll end. So a few more things need to happen, but it is not looking good for the Gooners.
No. Their biggest strength has now become their biggest weakness. And Tyler Adams on Men in Blazers pretty much mentioned that. Like the Emirates, which was their fortress of solitude for most of the season, pretty much up until the United match, has now become something that has been, it's almost a theater. Like people are expecting drama and angst, like some bad, yeah, it's like some bad Romeo and Juliet play. Like they're almost expecting like it's like watching a movie. It's literally like watching Revenge of the Sith. This is gonna take a weird tangent here, but like watching Revenge of the Sith, expecting Anakin to become good in the very middle. Like, you know, you're set up for disappointment. You know, you have that angst the whole time, and then it comes to that moment, and he does the wrong thing, and that's what Arsenal are.
Yeah,
They've done that. They've done that all the time.
They lack
Did you get
confidence from top down.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have we
Like
talked
when you suffer, whenever they go in a little bit shaky and they start to wonder, like the fans feel it, and they don't hide that feeling very well. So
But
therefore, like,
Arteta
the
wrote the
players
open
feel
letter
that as well.
before the Bournemouth game. I'm
What?
surprised that didn't. He wrote an open letter to the top gooners for the lunch, the 12:30 kickoff to bring your lunch, guys. Like, it's so good, man.
This nervous energy though around the club is just not.
very.
It's not working in their favor, and I love it because it's the opposite effect of what's going on at City. Is this positive energy? We're talking about winning the league 12 points down in our songs, and it's just pushing it forward with the confidence and willpower that we're going to make it happen. Where it's, I genuinely think it's the same thing, but on the other end, they're not confident. They're a nervous wreck, and that is felt throughout the club, through every one of those players, through the manager, and this is where they get to be again.
We felt it at the pub. I mean, the only sort of, I wouldn't even call it excitement or confidence, but the only moments in that game where that was provided to their fans, unsurprisingly, were when they won corners, where it was, okay, this is the most likely chance for us. Let's build on it. Let's see if we can take advantage. And again, they haven't scored one since, I think, March. I've been told, like, over a month. But those were the only real moments where they thought, okay, we can score. We can achieve what we need to achieve. So for it to be dumbed down to that at this point, this phase, yeah, that's got to be disheartening. And like you said, Mila, it doesn't take much to sort of shatter that fragility of a fan base. You can feel it. Like you said, it's worst case scenario in terms of how things have gone since that cup final. And yeah, at least I've had something to eat on that front.
I think they're just getting exposed. Everything about them, not everything, a lot of them about them is fake. We talked about the fake tough guy gimmick when it comes to Gabriel. We talk about this fake confidence in coming back that you can see from reps, just performative. They're getting found out, and this is what has been talked about on our pod for a very long time. So it's happy days. I think they're in for a tough 3 weeks coming up, whether they make it out of the Atletico draws or not. They have Newcastle on the weekend. That's a tough opponent, a physical opponent, and then you have 2 legs against Atletico Madrid, who might be the toughest of opponents. So good luck, and I can't wait to see how they handle this pressure, because it is a privilege.
It is a privilege. Yeah. To wrap up this Arsenal segment, and then we'll move on. I have been saying since the very start of the offseason that if they blanked this season, Arteta should be sacked. In your guys' opinion, do you believe that he should also be sacked?
Not at all. He needs time.
Good point, Grant.
I think the only idea that they would have for not sacking him is that, oh, Pep might be leaving. And if that's what, I feel like that can't be the case. You can't just expect him to win now that Pep's gone. And that was the issue last year. Like, Pep would basically bowed out the league, and Arne Slot, who I don't think is very good, got to walk in and grab himself a fucking trophy. Where was Arteta then? To think, this would be year 8 if he stayed again, that it'll change, that these guys will finally find a winning mentality, I think is the same thing every year, and they can be first all of next year for however long, and then not walk away with silverware. To me, you got to change it up, but I don't think a lot of their fan base thinks like that.
No, they really don't. For whatever reason, they think that there's the grass isn't greener. It's like their thought process, and I can't understand it for the life of me. You have a big team in London. It'll be a big draw to whoever. I mean, obviously their squad is talented enough to get them to a spot, but with the better manager, maybe he finally gets him over the hump. Like eventually you got to change something. You can't just sit in mediocrity of second place forever. Like stand up. Take a page out of something. I don't know. Whatever. Losers. Second again, ole. Grant, are you ready?
Let's get this over with.
Alrighty. I did something performative and I put on a blazer and a hoodie. I'm standing up for Liam Rosenior. It's not his fault. And so I dressed up just like him.
I already want to punch you.
I assumed so, but LinkedIn fit, baby. Blazer.
Open to work.
Hoodie, open for work. Yeah, you guys sacked him. You're on what is his name? McFarlane?
Yeah, our caretaker for the second time this season. I think I mentioned earlier today, does not have a UEFA Pro license. That's perfectly sums up what's going on currently at the club. But it was inevitable. I mean, we talked about it before he was even appointed, before Maresca even left his post. Yeah, this was going to happen, and it again. The more you're seeing this squad and what they are capable of at their worst, Maresca was just holding that whole thing together. And I think even if he did stay, we're starting to see there's a reason he got out of there. You can only hold this together for so long, almost like a fault line. Like once it does go, that earthquake's going to be huge. So I guess he was doing whatever he could to hold that together. But I mean, there's just some really terrible players at this club, and Rosenior gave them the platform to do their worst, is what it looked like. And I think he lost the team as soon as he dropped Robert Sanchez for the PSG tie. And that first leg was the last time we scored a goal against a top flight club. Port Vale, we won 7-0 for a team that is at bottom of League One. So not including that, yeah, I mean, we haven't scored a goal since the first leg against PSG. I mean, the amount of times we've lost 3-0 under him is embarrassing. The most embarrassing part about it is he wasn't sacked for results, because that would have happened a month ago. He was sacked because he blamed the players. He blamed these same shit players who've gotten all these other managers on the job market. Why are these players so bad? The same sporting directors are still in the job. It's 5 sporting directors. So how many idiots does it take to screw in a light bulb? How many idiots does it take to sabotage a once great club? About 5. So I think the only positive is that, again, Rosenior had to go. Every time I saw one of his quotes, I would just get more and more angry. But it wasn't his fault. Similar to the Potter situation, but honestly, I give Potter way more grace. Much worse of a situation he walked into. This was 2 cheeks. It really doesn't matter, but the venom is finally directed in the right direction. People are finally understanding that it does not matter who the head coach is. It's the same people making that decision of who this next head coach is going to be. So I can't trust them to get that right. I mean, me and Mila were talking about it when we were in London that, Simeone, like there was a rumor there. And would he ever work in this structure? Absolutely not. Why would any top coach come to this and go, so we're not going to get any new players. I just have to develop players from Strasbourg to sell them in 2 years. No one will want to do that. So I'm glad the protest had a positive turnout, and they already raised, I think there's a fundraiser to get like a driving billboard at Wembley, and they got the funds in an hour. So the fan base is galvanized. So at least we have that. All of the different sects of the fan base are equally in agreement that this ownership is destroying the club. So it took a little longer than it should have, but I think the dismissal of Enzo Maresca sort of opened everyone's eyes, and then the next few months of how that all played out, everyone's understanding who the real criminals are at this club. So we're going to need a lot of clear outs. It obviously starts with a lot of players, and I unfortunately don't think those directors will be held accountable for their decisions, but you can only hope and pray. I do not expect it to happen, but again, you're seeing the brown envelopes that they're going to change their ways and sign more experienced players. So we'll see. Actions speak louder than words. The past 2 windows show me exactly what I need to know about what these guys think they're doing. But yeah, I have zero hope. And then in terms of this season, I'd be shocked if we finished above 10th. I would be absolutely surprised because the center backs are horrific. Sanchez is back to being standard. Cucurella has looked in disarray. Reece James isn't fit. Even the midfield hasn't looked good lately, which is the only real saving grace in the team. The wingers don't even need to explain anything there. And Liam Delap's been playing up top. It's crazy that anytime you pull up the figures of money spent and then you just look at the first team, even with injuries, I don't care. You look at that and you just look at the options available. It's embarrassing. And the cherry on top is how many guys he's gotten hurt in the short amount of time he was here. The amount of hamstring injuries on these young players. It just, Esteval's against surgery, obviously wants to play in the World Cup, and you're just like, this looks like it can be a lingering thing now for a kid who's not even 19 years old. I mean, a shit show at every direction of the club. It is an unmitigated disaster. So yeah, just quick sim the season. I don't even know what type of shit sandwich we're about to get served up on Sunday, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's the only reason that you guys made this decision. Like, I think that if that Brighton game was something like 1 or 2-0, he'd still be in a job. And I also think that his comments after the game, which honestly, if there's one thing that I'm going to give him credit for, his comments post-game couldn't have been more truthful. And I think that the fact that some of these players are getting off with what they've done over the last 5 match, it is ridiculous. Like, I know that he is, and this is the problem really with Chelsea, is we talked about it before. He was set up for failure. He was always going to be the front man in a just awful decision. I had co-pilot on the Premier League give me the record since December 1st. It's 6 wins, 6 draws, and 9 defeats. So in 15 of 21 matches, Chelsea have dropped points since December 1st. It's unacceptable. And part of that is a management thing. Part of that is a player thing. And these guys not accepting responsibility is, for me, would be disheartening. And honestly, the links like with Enzo getting linked to City and him doing the whole thing and him being your vice captain. The only thing that I want to give Rosenior some grace for is I just think they gave up on him at some point, and not to his own fault.
No, it wasn't his fault. He dropped our goalkeeper and put that charlatan in goal against Paris Saint-Germain. He threw away the entire thing when he did that. That's when
if we're saying that Robert Sanchez is the person that we're living and dying with, that's a bigger issue. That goes back to the sporting director thing.
No,
you had
100%,
a chance to bring in Magnan, right? So it's like, look, he came into a situation that was impossible to fix. And now I'm saying that he should have been sacked. You can't go 5 straight games without a goal with that squad regardless, and you got to at least put up a fight. He didn't do that. He deserved to be sacked. At least you have this new manager bounce again to potentially salvage the only thing that's salvageable in the season, which is the FA Cup. And look, you're running into City, most likely.
No, we're not getting past fucking Leeds.
But at least now you have a chance. Like, if Rosenior is there, I think it was a 0% chance of happening. Now with him gone, I think it's like 25. You guys are still Chelsea. Like, you still have quality players in the squad. It's a better chance of it happening than not. And honestly, the players have told all of us that they don't care about the Premier League anymore. The club has told us they don't care about the Premier League, which I just find ludicrous, because every reporting thing that has come out is you guys are broke. You've gone severely in debt. You're taking out loans. And this squad and this entire project, this science experiment, has been based around the idea of we have young players. They'll get minutes when we play in Europe. We'll compete on 4 fronts, and we'll compete, and they'll get their minutes. Look, you got to be borderline stupid at this point. Like, Caicedo signing a new deal is stupid. I just don't understand it at this point. Like, you are signing up for mediocrity with this ownership group. And the fact that us three hooligans can figure that out And maybe the guy that is getting paid, it's a money thing, the contracts aren't even that crazy. I can't understand this science experiment. I can't understand anyone still choosing to be a test subject. So for
Crawford
me,
chose that.
as much as I want to be like, this is all in the ownership, and it is, right? They're the
Yeah.
main culprit. Everyone involved in the virus and spreading it is just at fault. Like Enzo has actually taken a leap up in terms of the Chelsea likability because he's the only player that has been like, yeah, I'm fucking out of this. Like, fuck, I'm
No, a
fucking
lot
off.
of them have been on vocally. I mean, Cucurella, the same thing where they're just kind of distraught and like, why?
2 of
What is going on
500?
here? Yeah, it's an embarrassment, our current state. Again, there's just no fight, and like you said, some of these players get away with literal murder. I mean, Chalobah was hurt and then just sort of comes back. I can't believe he came back this quickly, and he's just all of a sudden talking about it's not an effort thing. It's like,
yeah,
well,
sure, bud.
please, like, why did we take him back from Crystal Palace to begin with? Again, the same guys who deemed him not good enough then brought him back and said, you're our most important defender. Wesley Fofana, he was bought before our new wage structure and all that shit was even there. He's awful. He still plays every week. I mean, the best defensive performance I can think of this season is there was the game against Liverpool at home where ended up with Achampong and Hato for a bit. Hato's been the only bright spot recently. And again, I don't know how many times I can say it when it comes to this team, particularly our defenders. They are all so bad. And the fact that Achampong can't even play or he gets the last 3 minutes when we're down 3-0, it's embarrassing. It's spitting in his face. And again, at this point of the season, just play them. Like you said, it's the whole point of the project, right? You got to play them.
Yeah.
I know we need to keep the Tosins of the world in the shop window, but quite frankly, if that shop window, if the curtain's even open for a second and they can get like a little sneak preview, they will go nowhere near him. So you have to almost try and trick people into the idea of, oh yeah, he's been good before. Putting any of those guys out, it will not help their transfer value because I know this is how these guys think. So I mean, even out wide, our only wingers are Garnacho and Neto. Like the only reason I was excited to watch us play is Estevao, and he's done his fucking hamstring again. You know what?
Grade
Maybe
4.
again, we were
I've never
cooking
even
with
heard of that
protecting it.
before.
They were protecting him. I was wrong. Yeah, don't play him every week. It's fucking idiots, man. Like the only good thing left we had, and I can't watch that. And yeah, Palmer's been terrible. There's been nothing redeeming as of late. So yeah, I gotta watch fucking Callum McFarlane on the sideline. Daniel Farka, I do not even want to know what you have for us on Sunday, brother.
Yeah, Mila, Chelsea by the end of this weekend could be as far down as 11th.
Probably will be.
What is your thoughts on the science experiment that is Chelsea Football Club?
It has exploded. They've put some chemicals that have a reaction, and it's caused an explosion. You guys covered most of it. I to me, whenever I watch them lately, it just seems like a disinterested team. And I'm like you were saying, I don't know if this is going to change with just the fact that Rosenior's gone. These guys seem to think that they are giving it their all, and just disingenuous. Like anyone with eyes can see that that's not a team giving it their all for the club or the badge that they wear on their chest. So I'm annoyed from a neutral's point of view, just watching that and having them spit in your face and say, "Oh yeah, we're trying our hardest." Like I don't think so. And even if they are, I've talked to Grant about it. They're not working as a team. It's very selfish almost in that like no one's checking in for one another. No one's trying to help one another when it comes to just even building up a play. Most of these guys are running on their own at 4 defenders. And the next closest guy is 20 yards away. Calling for the ball, but not checking in for the ball. And that's a big difference. So if they're not going to do the basic stuff, I really don't. You could have the best coach in the world. It doesn't matter if you're not going to put in the effort. And this is what I've been talking to Grant about a lot. It's super easy to change. But to expect the board to make those changes and get the right people in and out is a long shot. we were talking to one of the guys at Classic Football Shirts, a Chelsea fan, and it just looks grim. But again, it's footy though, and you really don't know what the fuck's gonna happen in footy. So they could get it right. I don't see much hope in terms of them getting it right from a Chelsea fan's perspective.
Yeah, if you were a betting man, you wouldn't put money on that. You wouldn't put money on them getting it right. And they've proved that, honestly, the track record has told us not to put money on that. To close out this Chelsea segment, since I so nicely put on my favorite hoodie and blazer, Grant, I told you we're going to do a game, and it's going to be manager roulette. So put aside the idea that the board is going to do whatever they're going to do. You are the board. You have the ability to get one of these 17, I think it's 17 managers that I have on a list here. I'm going to name the manager. Simple yes or no. And then at the very end, you can tell me, like, if of the 17, if you had to pick one guy of the 17, who would it be?
So you snuck in the boardroom. You got the short list in your hands right now.
Yeah, yes, I have the short list of 17.
I think he's not going to be on this list, but if I were the board, I'd be on my. No, let me not say that. The board should be on their knees begging Maresca to come back, but again, that's not in a realm of reality. So,
well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to start there because he is on my short list. If you could get him back, is Enzo Maresca? Would you take him back tomorrow?
Those 5 directors should be on their hands and knees right now, begging him to come back. And yes, I would, but
okay, so that's 17. 16, John Terry.
No.
16, just got promoted, Frank Lampard. Are you bringing him back another time?
We do not need to ruin another coach's career. No.
A guy that was on the short list when Maresca got sacked, and I think he's been on it a couple times, was Kieran McKenna. 13, I have recently sacked as well, Felipe Luis.
Yes.
12, also recently sacked, but hasn't said a lot, Ruben Amorim.
Launch him to Mars.
11, should be sacked, hasn't been sacked, Eddie Howe.
Jupiter.
For a return to Chelsea once again, to bring some ego back, Jose Mourinho.
Fuck it. Sure.
9, you talked about him earlier, Diego Simeone.
Hands and knees.
8, he's probably one of the best guys that is going to be available this summer coming out of the Prem, is Oliver Glasner.
Absolutely not.
7 from Italy is Motta.
Next.
6, Xavi Hernandez. Hasn't worked since Barca, but would you bring him
No
in?
habla inglés. No.
5, the best German coach available, Julian Nagelsmann.
Yep.
4,
real quick
yep.
on Nagelsmann. Sorry, I shouldn't say that because our own board thought that he wasn't fit for the job. So what am I talking about?
I told you, you are the board. You make the decisions.
Yeah.
4, another guy from the Prem, Marco Silva.
No.
3 is the guy that is currently running the show at Como, and that's Cesc Fabregas.
Yep. Chelsea legend.
And then 2, I think the 2 at the top here is Xavi Alonso.
Yep.
And 1 who is currently apparently leading the pack, which is Oriola.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so of those 17 managers, the 3 that would be on the highest for you, and if you had to ultimately choose one, who would they be?
Yeah, I think Xabi Alonso, Felipe Luis, probably Cesc, but again, I don't think that's very likely to happen. Yeah, I don't need another sort of like, again, Kieran McKenna, Oliver Glasner, Iraola, Marco Silva. I don't need that sort of manager where I'm questioning their ability to make that jump. I think Glasner's done a phenomenal job at Palace, did the same thing at Frankfurt, but those are different jobs. There's a different expectation when you go in and you're sort of turning this team into a plucky underdog. You can't get away with that. You can't even try to attempt that at Chelsea. You're never going to be able to convince people that we're some sort of underdog, and every single team is going to give you a base level of respect. And it's a lot different when teams are just going to say, all right, come beat us to an extent, instead of just being this sort of sneaky counter-attacking team. Like, you won't be able to do that. So I don't trust those things to translate. I do think a personality very clearly is needed with this diabolical group of players that we have currently. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be one of the older heads, right? A Mourinho type. That wouldn't last very long, realistically, right? Maresca was a young, inexperienced manager, but to an extent, he had that sort of authority and that in terms of his figure and how he displayed himself towards the squad. So you need some sort of figure there, but at the same time, a bright tactical mind, someone that fits the profile of the squad. And Iraola, who everyone's hearing in this very preliminary stage that he's a name being thrown around, that's Poch 2.0 to me. That would be a disaster. Reece James's career would end prematurely with the amount of running that we would be attempting to do. I mean, I saw a clip from Semenyo. I think it was in November. How's training? Oh, just run. Keep that fucking far away from my club, please. We don't need that at this phase. I mean, from when we were actually buying good players, we were buying, players for a certain type of football, right? And Maresca fit that. The sort of, we have these technical players, like there's a way we want to play. We do not need to bring in a coach that needs a bunch of runners and just kick and run. Like, that's not what we were trying to build. But again, I don't know what the fuck we're trying to build now. But yeah, we don't need just clueless running around. There needs to be some sort of idea. So I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, going from being the team that has been outrun every single game,
That's
you
what I was
probably
gonna
do
say.
need that. That might actually be the one thing that you do need. Mila, are you actually Areola in then?
Not necessarily in, but just on that note, like, they probably could use a bit of running. Like, if running is that scary to a team, that's a whole nother problem. If these guys can't do some cardio, their fucking meat's gonna fall off the bone. If they do a couple suicide sprints, like that's a deeper issue.
Especially for a team of such young age.
Of course.
be
Like,
I think all the running
to be
stats this
afraid-
year is just a lack of respect. I think they're not respecting the game enough.
Sure.
And I think that's what that is. But I don't need the reverse 180 of it where it's like, hey, all we're going to focus on is just running.
No,
and there's
I
no
don't
sort
think-
of idea.
There's a middle ground.
So,
Yes, that's where I'm not like, okay, maybe Ariel is the option, but to have a coach that does focus on that, and that's just a given rather than like these guys are getting hurt because maybe they're not running that much. They're too stagnant, and then they explode, and then their muscle can't handle it, and it literally ruptures. To me, that makes sense from just a very simple point of view. Like, they're not conditioned to be running for a whole game, which is a fucking terrible issue to have as a professional football in the Premier League. Yes, you need to be explosive and have those moments, but you also need to be able to run around the pitch. Like some of the best guys that we talk about in the league, they do that consistently. And they don't get hurt. Like it's not okay to just have a bunch of players that are going to explode every time they have to do above average physical output. Like that can't be how we're looking at it. Or
and
like
Neto's been fit all fucking year. Shame.
Yeah. Mila, of those 17 guys, was there one that stuck out to you?
Like, realistically?
Sure.
I think Ariel is the fucking.
He's the realistic one.
He's the realist. Yeah, he is the realistic one.
He is. I think Kieran McKenna is probably deserving of a shout. I mean, look. In terms of the pipeline of how you guys have chosen managers, like he's probably in and around that mix.
Yeah.
I honestly think that Xavi would do a pretty good job, and in terms of like he's coached at Barca, like understands this. It's very similar to the way that we were talking about the interim position, or should United give the job to him when we did that back when Amram got sacked. Like knows the stakes of the club, big club energy, has worked with young players and developed them pretty well. And I don't think he's necessarily going to demand a whole lot. He didn't do that at Barca, and I don't expect him to do it here. The level, it might just not be high enough, but I feel like that's if he was worth, I would take the shot on him over
It's
any
such
of the
an
other
unknown
guys.
commodity.
Yeah.
Such an
He also
unknown
just hasn't
commodity.
coached in
I just don't
forever, which
know.
is another.
Yeah,
another
like I
issue.
just don't.
You just
I
can't-
literally
I don't think you can have too much expectation if that were the case, if they were to go with him. But like you're saying, he might be able to unearth some gems for them that they not necessarily have been missing out on. I think everyone can see that you guys have talented players in the academy. It's just the coaches have not necessarily been giving them a platform, and that's one of the biggest things on his CV is that he gives the young guys a platform, brings them into the team. So that could be an option. I think Felipe Luis is a good idea, but would
He's
he
going
want
to
to
the
do that?
Galaxy. No,
Uh,
honestly, he would take that. But I feel like he would take that job.
Yeah, he mogged Maresca a Club World Cup. I vividly remember his team playing us off the park.
I mean, I
he's a
honestly
good
saw
coach, but to
outside
just
of the
go
Rosenior
from the
times,
bullshit that he went to and the
to
reason
another
he got
bullshit
sacked
project.
to even more bullshit of a board, that's
Hey,
where I
want to
see
get discarded by Chelsea this time
the
as a
issue.
coach?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
Xabi Alonso too, like,
I'd love that.
the
I'd love
reports are
that.
that Slot's gonna stay with
Oh man,
Liverpool,
I would love that.
so
I would be a huge fan of that.
I can't see him being out of a job for too long either. So if
No,
this
And
is
if
the best
Liverpool
one
aren't making
available,
that
then maybe
move,
they can make a push for him.
he's the
that has
best
to be.
available. I think he's the best available manager.
I'd love that. Yeah.
Like every club that doesn't have a manager should be looking to bring him in. And like, if I was Arsenal, I'd sack Arteta tomorrow and I'd bring him in.
Yeah, we need to
Like
get
if
him.
they don't.
I think
So
that's
I
the
think
most
that's the
likely.
biggest bidding war. Like I just don't know how many other clubs are really going to compete. Like
But why
unless
would he
Pep
want to
leaves.
come to Chelsea? You know what I mean? I
That's
don't
the
think
that's the only
anyone
issue.
working in this current model. And it's also going to be a
Yeah.
big summer because this is obviously the World Cup. A lot of players will have to make decisions on their futures before we even have a coach. So that can very well be a turning point in terms of
Yeah.
a direction because what big player are you going to go sign and they don't know what system we're playing, right? So it's just continuing to set us back. These morons running the club. That's, I think, a good way to end it.
Yep.
It's the same culprits responsible. Not to say there's no responsibility. Obviously, Rosenior didn't have a great job. A lot of these players are criminals, but the people who built this team and project should be held accountable, and they have yet to be held accountable. I think in that statement, Rosenior getting sacked, one of them was they're going to reflect. You need to do a lot more than reflecting, brother. It needs to be one of those like I'm reflecting a magnifying glass onto a bug. That's what I wish I could do there reflecting for them. It is infuriating, and I assume they will continue to be ignorant to their own mistakes. And I have zero hope. I have absolutely zero hope that anything will turn around in the near future because they are still running the club.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair sentiment. And I think that that's fair. That's shared amongst Chelsea fans. So we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the science experiment unfolds. Let's move to another London club that's you could argue in disarray as well. We were there for Brighton versus Spurs. They had a chance to pick up a crucial 3 points. And in the 6th minute, they shot 90, yeah, they shit their pants. And Rucher scores. Danso gets just played off the park by Van Hecke. And it's just this club is in deep, deep trouble. And as much as I wanted West Ham to win the game just to really cement that, like it's between it feels like it's between West Ham and Spurs. And if I had to put money on a team right now, I'm putting it on Spurs to go down. They provide nothing. And Mila, I'm gonna let you take over here because I'm getting hot in this combo of attire that I'm currently wearing.
Get that shit off.
What from your perspective, what's going wrong for Spurs? I mean, they got De Zerbi. They've only picked up 1 point. They haven't won a game since the turn of the year.
De Zerbi was never gonna do much. I think that the hope with him was that if they can somehow stop the rot and stay up, that he can bring them back to some bit of normalcy next season. But to expect him to implement his ways so quickly and be able to really stop him, it's up to the players. We talked about belief. I think that belief is there for the fans. It's almost very much different. This is clearly on the players in my eyes. They just don't go out and we talked about it. They didn't kill the game in that last one. And I feel like will do the same to close out the season, and that'll be their downfall. There's going to be times where it looks like they're clawing their way out of it, and then they'll just fold, inevitably fold. I think it's super tough though for them. It's I'm just not surprised. It's a lot like the Arsenal thing, except for this is the accumulation of what this team has been building. Richarlison, the memes, the Richarlison taking off his shirt, getting a yellow card, and you know that they're going to get scored on afterwards. And then Xavi Simons, like, he does the same thing, and they get scored on right afterwards. And it's just, they give it and they take it. And it continues to keep going on and on. I feel like I'm just rambling about this, but I think we've really talked about this in depth already, that they need to find that killer mentality, and I don't see it. I don't see it whatsoever. And that comes from any of the coaches, just the players that they have at their disposal. I don't see it from any of them. And that's not even saying that they play bad football, because I think not a lot of the time, but some of the time we see good footy out of them. And what do you get from it? It's just a bunch of names that are going down.
Yeah, this is not a team talent-wise, like on paper, where you look at it and you go, that's a relegation squad. It's not. It's just not. And the fact that they are in this position and having that sentiment is harmful to them, because they have a bunch of players that don't understand what this means. And we've talked about like the getting checked out nature of it. Similar to Chelsea, I don't even know if it's disinterest, but I just don't think they believe in the fact that they can go out and win games anymore. Like, and their fans don't either. When we were sitting there and they were like, oh, well, getting all angry at the refs, and they were like, oh, how much time's gonna left? 8 minutes. And then 8 minutes hit, and it was like, all right, we're conceding. Like, the amount of people that were sitting around us that went, we're conceding. That's dangerous, man. Similar to the way that we've talked about Arsenal, like all of the bad things that I've talked about with other teams is compounded with Spurs right now. And I would feel just totally disheartened if I was a fan, because it doesn't look like they care enough, or they don't have enough belief in themselves to get over the line here. And then you look at the schedule here, and Grant, before I throw it to you, you both can answer these questions. I think they've got 5 games left. I'm going to read them out, and you tell me where they get results. We did this a little bit ago. We'll do it again. Wolves away.
Decent shot.
Probably their
one of your
best
best shots. Yeah.
Best shot of the year. You almost have to pick up 3 points.
Yeah.
Wolves are going to want to take someone down with them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Like
And they already have.
But that's probably their best shot. Then they play Aston Villa away.
No chance.
Again.
No chance.
They play Leeds at home.
No chance.
Chelsea away.
They can.
I'd like to think that Chelsea potentially getting Spurs relegated would give them enough juice.
Those guys are pretty pathetic too, to be honest with you. We'll see.
Right, 2 games left in the season. I'm assuming it's your last home game. I'm assuming you finish on the road if you're playing at home the second to last. So,
yeah.
But to your point, like that's probably a spot where they can pick up points.
Yeah.
And then Everton at home.
Nope.
So we just said they'd pick up points. We didn't say that they'd get all 3
They
points.
have 2 chances to get points in 5 games,
which is 2 points.
Yeah.
Right? We're essentially saying we think they get
That's
2
how
draws
much they
in that
need,
run.
though. But to just get back to level with West Ham, obviously they'll have a better goal difference. But yeah, it's just down to them and West Ham. And at the moment, I think a big key difference is the guys at West Ham absolutely understand the position they're in. Obviously, they've gotten reinforcements that are starting to help, right? Castellanos has started to score some goals for them. But even a guy like Axel Disasi, I think he's been huge for them defensively. Nuno knows they know exactly what position they're in and what they have to do to get out of this. Like they can keep a clean sheet, right? They didn't go and get a result away at Crystal Palace, but they kept a clean sheet. Were resolute, were able to get a point out of it. And Tottenham I can't believe they're still this ignorant to the idea of the relegation, but it does seem to an extent that they still do not believe that they're in this position, and they have to, really just dig deep to get any sort of result. they still seem ignorant to that fact. And I think West Ham, it's the exact opposite, right? They know exactly where they are. They know what needs to be done in order to stay up. So I'd have to lean towards them if I had to pick one.
Yeah, I mean, the damning stat is West Ham has 2 losses in their last 9, and
They're the
Spurs haven't won a game since 2025. 2025. We are a whole quarter into 2026, and they haven't won a match in the Premier League. I was flabbergasted at their crowd support, because if that was my club, I don't know how anybody in their right mind paid money for that ticket. Like, kudos to the Spurs fans. That's the only thing that I've picked up out of the season from Spurs, is that their fans are very, very good. And we poked fun. I poked fun at them with the title and the description of our vlog video, because that's what we do. We're rivals. But we all mentioned it in the video that the Spurs fans are class. And they got up for the match. And I expect them to get up for every home game that they've got left. But to Mila's point, like, they don't got it. So, Grant, do you see any silver lining with the rest of the season for them? Like, or is it just they're going down, it's over?
Yeah, that's their silver linings. If they get out of it, it's like, okay, we survived relegation, but even still, your best case scenario out of this season is, holy fuck, we almost got relegated. So to build off of that, like, that's an incredibly shaky foundation. If you're able to somehow escape that, I do think you have one of the right guys to try and build a better culture there. But similar to the situation at Chelsea, we've seen it in the past, especially recently with Tottenham. It's really hard for a manager of that sort of ilk to try and implement that, given the restrictions above his head. So it's really hard to say. You need a strong foundation in order to build something, and you don't have that at that club. So there's really only so much you can do. I don't know how you even build on that to think, okay, yeah, we almost got relegated, but we didn't. Like, that's your best case scenario. So not great, but again, you have to throw away all your, it sounds crazy, but your pride and ego at this point and how good you are. No, you just have to, it has to be ugly at this point. It has to. There's no other way. So, but again, like you said, with even their fans knew it. They don't have that type of team where it's okay, we're up 1, we can hang on to this. They don't have that. So you can't just snap a finger and have that for 5 more games and then it resets. That's not how this works. So I do not know how they'll make this happen.
Yeah, we're heading to a absolutely beautiful crescendo to end the season. The storylines have been fantastic all season. This league has had more parity, I think, this season than it has in many years. We've had races all over the place, and this Spurs one is just the icing on the cake in terms of a storyline. A club, a Big 6 club, could potentially be heading to the championship, and I don't think they recover. I don't. Kind of crazy. But let's just cap this video off with a little United talk. My thought for this was, we're all assuming that United get in. They need, I think, a maximum 6 points. Chelsea losing midweek. It feels inevitable. They're going to get Champions League. You'd assume that they pick up enough points here through the end. And I think the question that has kind of been on, like, it's more the media thing is, are United back? It's always been like, it's every time United go through a good spell, it's, are United back? The answer is no. Far from it. They played 40 games this season. But as Mila titled this, United plot for revenge, I want to phrase this so we do it somewhat quickly and just get like a 10-ish minute segment here. All of us are going to go through the 3 things that United need to do to become back and head into next season with a platform to build off of, instead of, like many teams currently are doing, Newcastle, Villa, Chelsea, the flip-flopping out of UCL. How do United become back and be a Champions League team every single year? Similar to the way that Liverpool have, City, and Arsenal. So the 3 items. I'll go last, unless you guys have nothing to go off of.
I don't think I even had 3 things. I just think it's probably 2. Then you get the manager position correct, and you need to build a squad, like you said. I think if you had this exact squad going into next season, it would not be good. I don't think things would work out well. You can't bank on your rivals being this terrible next year, but you need to build off of what you have done, because I think the turnaround from even just getting rid of Amarim, but the recruitment was good. It wasn't necessarily quantity, but it was quality. So don't feel like you're in a pinch and pay United tax everywhere you go. Make the right decisions there. Continue to build a squad that is, well, at this point you need like 20 deep at least to compete, but you probably need more than that. Right now you're probably at 14, so you'll definitely need more than that. So yeah, just continue to recruit well and bring in a coach that fits what you're trying to do. It does seem like as shaky as some of the ownership's decisions have been since coming in, things have somewhat steadied out. But again, you can't bank on the rest of the field being as comically bad as they have been. So you can't rest on your laurels there. But I don't think it'll take much given the rest of the field.
Fair. Mila, do you have 2 or 3 things that you think United need to do to be back?
Midfield overhaul in terms of depth, I think, is the biggest one. And my second one is consistency, just all throughout the pitch. And I think that a lot of that will come from just figuring out who the best midfield 3 might be going forward. You got to lock down Bruno. And there's just all the rumors of who might be coming in the summer in that midfield. I think locking in a striker, a consistent striker, would probably do a little more for the club. Having to rotate that position every week I think it's just stunting the growth of someone like C.O.C. So if he could just get consistent minutes at top, I think it'd be good for you guys. It's not really much to do. And I think Grant was saying, the manager, just make sure you get that. Don't get the wrong one. Because at this point, the culture seems to be coming back a little bit. That winning mentality that we talk about. And it's more so just about maintaining that and making sure you don't bring in someone that's going to make that go toxic.
LinkedIn Liam's available.
Yeah, my 3 things are pretty similar. The 3 things that United need to get right to be back are: 1, it's the manager position. That's been the talking point since Amorim got sacked, and it's been the talking point since Ferguson left. They haven't gotten it right, and you have to get it right at some point. You'd like to think that eventually they will. I think whether you give Carrick another season or you get one of the top guys, in my opinion, it's Xavi or it's Nagelsmann. You really can't go wrong there. Those are the 3 options. I don't think you toy around with anything else. Like, if you're toying around with any of the other options, it's not worth buying. Like, I'm not buying Glasner, Areola. Like, none of that stuff is, those guys aren't, that's not it. But those 3 guys, I think I'm willing to take the risk on going into the next season. So that's 1. 2 is, I think you have to hit a marquee signing in the midfield. I don't think it's about just getting an overhaul. I think you have to get one player right. And if the links with Tchouaméni are true and they hit Tchouaméni, that's what I'm talking about. Like him or Anderson, if that's what you're going to die on, you're going to spend £100 million or whatever it's going to take. Similar to the way that it happened with Chelsea, similar to the way that City have gone about it. If you get that position right, everything kind of falls into place. And you have to hit on that. And then in the third one, it kind of falls into that, but depth. Like, look, if Tchouaméni signs, the midfield 3 is Tchouaméni, Menu, and Bruno Fernandes in all the important games. So for me, like a guy like Baleba for 50 makes sense. I don't think if this is kind of the depth point, but if you get Tchouaméni, I don't necessarily think you need a Tonali, if that makes sense. Like I'd be willing to take more of a punt on a guy like Fernandes. And then obviously the rest of the squad needs some work. Like you can't assume that Luke Shaw is going to be your left back all season.
That'd be a World Cup year.
That'd be crazy. Dorgu obviously struggled with fitness in his time so far. So you got to build. I think that's the thing for me. Is like they're gonna have a war chest potentially to work with. Get the marquee signing, make that your bulk, and then fill out the rest of the squad with a bunch of guys in the range of 35 to 50. And then look, United are not going to go from where they're at now, 40 games a week, to competing on 4 fronts and then Champions League and get back to winning a Premier League. It's not realistic. It's not smart. They shouldn't plan to do that. But it should be gradual. This year it was get into the Champions League. Next year it's maintaining, competing on 4 fronts, and then getting Champions League again. And then you can start to think about winning silverware. Or next year you think about winning one of the other domestic cups, right? And then you can go from there. But those are the 3 things they got to get right. If they don't get those things right, we go right back to square one. And they can't let that happen. They got given a lifeline with Carrick and this turn at the end of the year. Because it wasn't in that direction. We could have been in this dogfight that Chelsea and the host of other teams have been in. You have been given a lifeline. So either you sink trying to save yourself or you swim out of, in a rescue boat. And those are the 3 things. I don't really have much more to talk about United. It's so nice. Honestly, I was talking to Dari and Justin about this. I was like, it's kind of nice not playing every single week. Like, from this perspective, like I don't have to worry about anything other than like they play in 11 days and I get to enjoy it, or I don't, and then the pain goes away after like 3 or 4 days, and then I just wait another week, and then I get to watch another game. It's been great outside of my other club, but I
get jump scared with a game every 3 days.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Like,
that's what it felt like last year with Europa. Like I was like, fuck, like I gotta watch these guys again. They're gonna give me a heart attack.
Well, thankfully we were over the Atlantic during the Brighton Chelsea game.
Yeah,
so we didn't have to watch that shit.
You were a lucky.
Now we landed for our layover. We just looked at the lineup. It was like, holy fuck. Like,
yeah. Oh, dude, I was watching that and I was thinking this is the worst I've seen Chelsea play in a long time.
A week.
Like, even under Potter, it wasn't that bad. Like it was bad.
Potter looks like Johan Cruyff compared to this shit, man.
Hey, both managers got sacked this year, right?
Hey, Potter's won the World Cup.
Isn't that's crazy to really think about? I think there's been.
Arsenal need Potter to unlock Gyökeres. That's what it is.
I can tell you for a fact, we've had more managerial sackings in 2026 than Spurs have picked up points.
Yeah. No, I saw a good stat, Dylan. 8.33% of managers at the World Cup have been sacked by Chelsea.
Come on.
That is
blue is the color. Football is the game.
Not as of late.
It's heritage. It's heritage. All right, I'm gonna throw up the link tree one more time here. I'm
gonna throw up.
We've gone. You know what? For how many things we had to get to, and to only be 15 minutes over, I'm impressed by us.
Hey, we only went over on one of the segments in terms of how much time was allotted. You guys.
Well, I wonder what that one is. No,
yeah,
and that's okay. It was deserving of its time with there being a sacking.
Yeah, I had to spare an extra 7 minutes added on to explain exactly what I've been explaining for over a year.
There was just an injury. There was an injury time, so we had to get to extra time. It's okay. We just didn't have the gong this time. That's all right. But any closing remarks from you, gentlemen?
Can't wait to record next.
I can't wait to record next.
I also can't wait to record next. It's been great.
Well, the next one, my next appearance will be Sunday, our time in the afternoon after whatever we end up cooking against Leeds at Wembley. You guys, Mila, you got Saturday, the semifinal of the FA Cup. So that'll be exciting. Another tournament to get knocked out of for us. But yeah, the season's been exciting on all fronts, boys, right? Like you said, the relegation battle, top of the table, this European battle, it's all coming down to the wire. So at least from a neutral standpoint, it's going to be an exciting finish to the domestic season.
Right. As a podcast, we've had a great year so far in terms of just the storylines and being able to cover it all in 95 fucking episodes is crazy. And we're at 459 subscribers. Mila, you want to shout out and promote the other podcast real quick? I know you don't want to. I don't really want to do it.
What a fucking shit show. Again, I think the past couple weeks, every time I do this plug, I'm having a great time watching the Premier League. I have a terrible time watching MLS right now. And it's the saying, the gift that keeps on giving. This is the shit that keeps on shitting. It gets worse and worse, and you just have to watch us struggle on a weekly basis. If you like to watch Dylan and I sad, if you like to watch Andrew and Dari sad, if you want to see sympathy for Maya Yoshida and Marco Royce, then watch Clash of Cosmos, because that is a shit fest at the moment, and we appreciate everyone that tunes in.
Yeah, well, we're officially back since being gone, and if you haven't checked out the Tottenham video, I highly recommend it. It's probably one of our best videos in terms of, I think, our just
Everything.
general coverage. It was a lot of fun to make, and to Tottenham fans, kudos, and to us, kudos for 459. Like I said, the goal is 500 before the end of May. And we're going to hit that. We're going to hit that like it's nothing, because you guys are awesome and we appreciate it a lot. Linktree is up there. Oh, almost caught myself slacking there. Yeah, it's up there. So go and follow us on socials. We've got daily content coming out there as well. So we appreciate the 459 of you guys. Yeah, let's wrap it up. City go top. Arsenal second. Again, ole ole. Chelsea sack a manager. Spurs are going down, and United could be back. That's a good podcast, boys. We'll leave it there. From myself, Mila, and Grant, we have been Clash of Clubs. This has been episode 95. Almost 95. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Two words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing! That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.